My name is William Ranahan. I'm the chair of the biology and chemistry department at Oral Roberts University, and I do breast cancer research here. I have a couple of cancer research labs, and I head up our senior research class.
What is the best way for students to utilize library resources when starting their work in the natural sciences?
The first thing is that you really can't start soon enough. Like when you're a freshman and you are starting on your journey of becoming a scientist, becoming really anything in the health sciences, the sooner you get comfortable reading the peer-reviewed primary research, the better, honestly. That's a tool that you're going to need to have and be comfortable with for your entire career. So the sooner you get comfortable with that, the better. In my experience, students are reluctant to begin because there's so much information. There's a lot of anxiety around how do I navigate through all of this. And so instead of jumping in and using the resources available, they tend to just not engage. So the first thing is the sooner you get into that, the better. It's inevitable. You have to do it. It is incredibly important for the way that you think, the way that you understand research, and for your development as a scientist. It's just, you have to do it. I tell my research students that probably 2/3 of what they're going to do in the research that they're doing is going to be reading. It's going to be getting into the literature and finding out what's been done and how do we think as a scientist and how do you design experiments. All of that is learned slowly by reading.
How does a student access the health sciences journals available at the ORU library?
There are many discipline-specific journals. One of the major portals for that we would use is NCBI. This is the National Center for Biotechnological Information. And that is sort of the world's repository for peer-reviewed publications in the fields of health sciences. And so we would start there. And again, you want to get help doing keyword searches and knowing which databases to access. Not all of them are useful for what we're doing. I probably once a day am on NCBI looking up papers or linking. The major journals we look at, Cell, Science, Nature, Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, Journal of Biological Chemistry. And it's so important to understand the caliber of the journal that you're looking at, the impact, the citation, because you got to know the audience that this journal is reaching, so that you can assess the validity of the data. I mean, it's all about being able to be comfortable reading a study and assessing whether or not that study was well designed, so that you can believe or take with a grain of salt the results that these researchers came up with.
How should students approach open source research?
So the open sources are really important because most research in the Western world advances by collaboration. It's by understanding what's been done and then working together to come up with new questions, new research questions, and moving towards that. So the problem is that these you need guidance. You just need help to figure out, especially as a budding scientist, budding researcher, you just need help finding which is appropriate. And that, I think, is where the library is invaluable, in that you don't have to have all the answers. You can go and just ask. Here's my project, here's what I'm interested in. Could you help me? Could you guide me into the right open source, to the right search engine? And I think it's very useful for my students that they know that there's a resource available. They don't have to have it all figured out when they go. I certainly appreciate students that have been through the literature before they come and say that they're interested in doing cancer research with me.
What should students do first when they begin their research?
I think it should be a requirement that students get comfortable interfacing with the librarians and with those databases. I'm concerned that it is not more common. That's a real concern, because if you don't understand what's been done, you cannot ask the key questions to move forward. So research begins, is carried by, and ends with the publication. So it begins, your whole research project begins with assessing what's been done. So I do cancer research, and to begin that process, you have to drill down very specifically into the kind of cancer you're studying, what current chemotherapies are available, and then what studies have been done in that particular field. Then once you know that, and that requires a lot of reading, right? That requires a lot of time in the library and helping you narrow down what you're reading. Once you understand what's been done, then you can begin to design experiments. You really shouldn't be in the lab doing research unless you've done that first piece. Then you can go to the lab. Then when you get your data, you have to go back to the research that's published to figure out how to interpret your data. Have other people seen these results? And then what do I do with that? And then finally, you want to publish your own results, right? So you want to go right back to that and figure out what's the journal, what is it open source that we want to do? How do we want to get these data out? It's not really, they say it's not really real, it doesn't really matter unless it's published. And that's pretty true.
What are the advantages to working in the library?
A lot of students try to do research while their Netflix is going and while their friends are texting, and so that is a chaotic environment that does not lend itself to real learning, and you really need to be focused here. So the library creates spaces where you are there, and the point of being there is to focus and to study and to learn. They're also collaborative spaces, so you can get there with like-minded people. When you go to the library, you do it on purpose. It's not like a common space, like a cafeteria or maybe a cafe, and you're with a mix of people. Some people are there to have fun and mess around. Some people are there to learn. The library is you go there on purpose to study, to learn. And so that's a great mental space to be in with other people, like-minded people. But the most important thing is that you have people there that can help you, that can guide you. A lot of students alone in their dorm hit that wall, maybe it's the paywall, and they're just done. They just give up because they don't have the external person to ask, hey, do we have this article? Can I access this? Is this the best database to go to? So you've got the learning space, a collaborative learning space that you can go to on purpose with your friends, and you have guides to help you get to the information. And so it really is the best, it's the best case scenario if you're really trying to learn.